So yesterday after the close, AMC posted second quarter financial results. Revenue up more than $444 million. The street was looking for $375 million. The loss was 71 cents. The Wall Street consensus was a loss of 93 cents. Financial media headlines acknowledge the results, but disdain for the company and its apes shareholder community continues. AMC CEO Aron joins me now. And Adam, before we start, I want to say thanks for coming on the show. And I did watch, I got to say, I was a little skeptical about what was happening with you and the apes. And I watched between your conference call and you on TV earlier on another network. And I got to tell you, I completely understand why the ape community has put their faith in you. When you say that they're showholders, that they're your boss, you show them the kind of respect that so many people don't. So I got a lot to cover. I'm going to get to challenges, but let's look at the highlights from the quarter. I'm going to start with liquidity. $2 billion, is that enough to get you to profitability? And of course, everyone's saying if you got $2 billion, when will you share it with shareholders?
Well, first of all, there's a lot in there, Charles. Let me start with a little praise back. I've been watching very carefully what you've been reporting about AMC these past many months, and we're very appreciative of the coverage that you've given us. You've been very kind in your comments. In terms of the quarter, we did report a great second quarter yesterday. Now, you got to put that in perspective. We lost money in the second quarter, but we were so much better off than people expected. And we were so much better off in the second quarter of this year than we were in the second quarter of last year. We were so much better off in the second quarter of this year than we were in the first quarter of this year. You've got a sense that while we're not out of the COVID woods yet, this, after all, is still a COVID-infected world, you can see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You can see that recovery is coming. And we just have to, continue to work our way through and get to the other side. Fortunately, as you indicated, we ended the second quarter with more than $2 billion of cash in the bank or undrawn revolving credit line. It turns out that's the highest amount of liquidity that our company has ever had at quarter end in its 100-year history. And I know that to be true because the same thing was true in March, when we ended the March quarter with $1 billion of liquidity. That was the highest amount of liquidity at quarter end that the company's ever had. And just 90 days later, we doubled that. So we do have enough money, we believe, to get to the other side of this pandemic. In our view, no one has a crystal ball. No one can guarantee anything in life. But from our view, we've moved from how do we survive COVID to how will we thrive after COVID.
Well, Adam, let's talk about that. Let's talk about how you thrive for a moment. We've been fighting for day-to-day
survival for a year. It's very nice to move on.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. You made some comparisons to last year. In these circumstances, it's probably best to make comparisons to 2019 to get back to where you were when you really were dominating the industry. One of the announcements last night, for instance, the Warner Brothers deals, I think it's absolutely fantastic. It certainly belies the narrative that studios don't care about the box office anymore. Give us a few details there.
Well, you're right, Charles, and it's an astute observation by you. The agreement we announced yesterday with Warner Brothers is that in December, Warner Brothers said that going forward, it was going to take all of its movies to the home on HBO Max on the same day that it took movies to theaters. And they were clearly doing that to build up HBO Max, but they were doing it not only at our expense, but we believe at the expense of their own studio division. And they did it now for half a year. They watched the results carefully, and what they decided was that the old way of doing business, which is take movies out into the marketplace in theaters first, is a much smarter thing for Warner Brothers, let alone for AMC. And so we signed an agreement that they've abandoned this whole take the movies to the home and theaters simultaneously concept. We've agreed that we're going to show all Warner Brothers movies in calendar year 2022 with an exclusive 45-day theatrical window, which means movies are coming to theaters first, and clearly that's in our interest. There's a train of thought now amongst a lot of studios that that's the way to go. And hopefully we can get all the major studios to agree to what Warner agreed to yesterday.
And in the meantime, Adam, there's also innovative ways of using this giant footprint that you have, which are these movie theaters. I mean, you've done UFC fights, you're doing concerts. I know you got Chance the Rapper. And then, of course, you probably have a long-ending list from your apes. Someone tweeted at me, ask about a National Indiana Jones Day where you show all three of the movies on the big screen and things like that. So there are ways to use your assets that can be innovative and that can make up for any sort of shortfall that you're looking at. I'm sure these are all on the drawing board, right?
Ideas like the ones you described are on the drawing boards, and you're also correct that our new multi-million shareholder base that's multi-million people, not multi-million dollars. The 4 million of our shareholders are showering us with good ideas, and I got to tell you, okay, not every idea is a great one. But a lot of the ideas that have come in from our individual shareholder base are very good ideas because they are consumers of movies. These are people who go to movie theaters. They live our product. They experience our product. Clearly, they like our product.
Adam, I don't want to be rude here, but we're running out of time. I blocked off a lot of time for you, but there's so much to get to. So let's talk about one more idea from the ape community, and that's, hey, Bitcoin. So are people going to be able to use Bitcoin to go actually purchase these movie tickets?
Yes, that was another great idea that came in from our shareholder base. We did announce yesterday that we figured out a way to put the technology in place. We'll do so by year end. So we will be taking Bitcoin as one of the many forms of payment that you can use if you do it online to buy movie tickets and or concessions at AMC theaters all across the United States.
Next year, the box office, if there's a rebound anywhere, we know some blockbusters have been held back. They'll probably come out late this year or next year. Is there a chance your company could move back to profitability?
Look, I think there is a real chance we can move back to profitability in the fourth quarter of this year. If you define profitability as, sort of theater level cash flow, the box office, if we size it, and we use the domestic box office as sort of the proxy of the size of the industry. For the last 5 years pre-pandemic, the box office was between 11 and 12 billion dollars. Well, last year it was $2 billion. And this year it might be around $5 billion. We're way, way short of where the industry was for years and years and years on end. In fact, the last 10 years in a row, the industry box office was more than $10 billion. So I think 2022 is going to be a transitional year. I hope we're a lot bigger than $5 billion. I don't know that we get all the way back to 11 or $12 billion, but clearly AMC will do better as the box office is bigger.
Sure. Adam, I could just say you're a real gentleman. It's amazing to me. Listen, I understand the cynicism out there perhaps, and the critics who think the stock is overvalued, but the slings and arrows that you take, that your shareholders take, I think is despicable. I think the financial media needs to look in the mirror because no one knows, right? I've watched Crocs go up 1,200% in the last year after everyone on Wall Street wrote them off. I've seen companies come back like phoenixes from the ashes. So I tip my hat to you. You've been innovative. You've done an amazing job. And I hope you come back on the show real soon, Adam. Thank you very much.
I will, and you were right in what you said before. Maybe the biggest thing of all is that everybody should pay a lot of respect to these individual investors who are making decisions every day about which companies they want to back.
Absolutely. We'll see you soon. In the meantime, folks, millions of Americans are still out of